And welcome back to another episode of the Ball Watchers podcast. I am your host, Evan Bloost, alongside my co-host, Joseph Muto. Joseph, how you doing today? I'm great. Happy birthday, man. It was your birthday yesterday, the big 23. Yeah, I love it. 1 year older. One more year. I feel like every year you age, you just realize it's just sad, man. It's like looking at Drake May, and you're like, this guy, I think we're older than Drake May. And you're like, God, one, he has a wife, which is insane, but also just like athletically, like that guy looks like 6 years older than me, man. It's crazy. It's sad, honestly. Hockey's even worse because, I mean, they're like 18, but, it is true. Yeah, that's all we do. We just sit here, our comfortable little studio, and talk about them. They're making millions. But, it's awesome. We love it. We love to do it. And that's what we're here to do today. Week 15 just wrapped up. Another great week of football. Lots of playoff implications. I think next week, though, week 16 is going to be even more insane for the playoffs. But we'll start off in week 15 and Thursday night football, Joseph. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose their second straight game within their own division. Not in a good way. And I mean, the other thing is, I don't even know if you can blame injuries at this point because Mike Evans is back, Bucky Irving's back, Godwin has been back and healthy for a couple weeks. You still have Egbuka playing, like he's healthy right now. Like at least offensively, there's no excuse at this point. I think like all of your big weapons are back. Mayfield's still out there, and it does not look like the offense you saw earlier in the season. They're not blowing the doors off teams the way they were earlier in the year. And I mean, I think they were what 6-2 at one point, and now they're 7-7. Like that is a horrendous downfall. And I mean, like obviously they played some tough games. Like they lost to the Patriots in a really close game. They lost. I'm trying to think who else they lost to. The Rams, I guess. But at the same time, like they beat Seattle. They put up almost 40 points on Seattle, who has one of the best defenses in the league. And then like you can't even put up 28 points against the Falcons. Like or I guess they did put no, they didn't. Anyways, it's ridiculous and it's an embarrassing loss, honestly, because this Falcons team has been completely like a bottom feeder the last 4 or 5 weeks here. They haven't looked able to beat anyone. They haven't looked competitive, and then they're competitive against this Bucks team. And there is something to be said for the Falcons just seem to play the Bucks really close, and they have like since Raheem Morris got there, but it's still not an excuse because this Bucks team is significantly better than this Falcons team, and you can't blame injuries anymore, especially on offense. It's just their defense is so bad that there's any mistake by the offense just completely screws them over. Yeah. Anyone who had that him on their bench in fantasy, unfortunate, unfortunate. I mean, I can't blame you for having him on the bench, but very unfortunate. God, man. Hello, Cincinnati. Oh God, dude. It makes a lot of sense, unfortunately. I mean, I would be happy about it for Kyle Pitts. They need that. I mean, he's not the same kind of tight end as Travis Kelsey, but he's almost like he's still great in an athletic way. Like he won't have that sense for like finding the zones and the soft spots the way Kelsey does because no one can do that. But damn, he's fast for his size, and he's also absolutely enormous. So I can't blame that. I just like I hate it, man. I gave up on this guy. I said that during the fantasy episode. I gave up on him finally, and I didn't draft him after I think I've drafted him the last like 2 or 3 years. And now, I mean, it's not like his this season's actually he's been pretty good. I think he's almost at 800 yards. Like he has been very solid this season. And yeah, this was the kind of breakout. You see the kind of player he is. But you're right. He's not long for Atlanta, and some other teams definitely going to benefit, I think, from maybe making him more of a focus point in this offense, in their offense. All right, next game here, the Patriots. They were up 21 nothing to start this game, but they fall behind. This was a weird game, man, because I feel like the Patriots offense played good, but somehow they blow a 21 nothing lead and the Bills hang on to their claim for the AFC East. That's just Josh Allen. If I told you Travion Henderson would have 250 plus yard touchdowns in this game, like you would not have expected the Bills to win, I don't think. Like it is insane. And I mean, props to the Bills. I still have a big concern because even this is the exact same thing that happened last week in Cincinnati. You get down early, and then Josh Allen has to dig you out of an enormous hole. And I mean, he's done it 2 weeks in a row because he's that good, but like he is covering up so many issues with this team right now. And like the defense for Buffalo is terrible. They're going to have to get Josh Allen to score like 35 points if they're going to win a playoff game because like that defense is terrible. They couldn't stop anyone. They couldn't stop anyone last week. I mean, we've seen it all season. This is even going back to week 1. They let the Ravens put 40 up on them. Like it's just not a good defense and it's to the point where Sean McDermott can't like save it. And they made plays at the right time. Like Joey Bosa had a huge play to end the game, but it's just not consistent. And you're letting teams just move the ball up and down the field on you. And Josh Allen is playing insane football right now. Like the offense is humming, but you cannot rely on that, especially going forwards. And I think that the same can be said of the Patriots. I think that this showed that the Patriots defense is maybe not as good as we thought it was earlier in the season, and they're definitely dealing with some injuries. Milton Williams is still out, but that's definitely going to have to be a focus for them going forwards. And I think that it's not as big of a deal for the Patriots because of how bad they were last year. This is such a huge turnaround, but they're definitely going to have to make some changes on that defense to make it a bit stiffer because it wasn't any help for them this week. The Saints game was closer than it should have been. That's the thing. I totally agree. Is it's the Bills are good now, but like I feel like the future is very questionable right now for this team outside of Josh Allen. And then on the other side, like the Patriots are look like they've just been built well. And yes, they had a cupcake schedule this year and they overperformed, but they have the foundation they need to be good going forwards. And one last thing, like the wide receiver situation in Buffalo is so brutal as well. Like, I mean, outside of Shakir, I love Shakir. I think he's a great receiver, but he's not a receiver one. Like, he's a guy who you get that ball, you have a wide receiver one that allows him to get space underneath Khalil Shakir and then make moves because he's like possibly the hardest person to tackle in the NFL right now. And like there's no one, man. Keon Coleman had some a brutal game in this one, and it's like Josh Allen is doing everything. Like there's guys you've never heard of, like Tyrell Shavers and what is it, the tight end Dawes? I don't know. Anyways, guys you've never heard of catching balls from Josh Allen, and I just feel like he truly has no one to rely on, and he's basically, especially through the air, and he's making it all work himself. And the run game is a huge compliment right now, and it's working really well because teams have to respect the run game from both James Cook and Josh Allen. So it's opening up things downfield. But we saw that kind of in the middle stretch of the season where that run game wasn't working. This Bills team is pretty vulnerable. All right. Next game here, we are going to Kansas City where the Chargers, they played a gritty game, low scoring. They end up getting the victory, eliminating the Chiefs from the playoffs, and Patrick Mahomes tears his ACL. But all credit to the Chargers. They won this game before Mahomes went out with that injury. He looked a lot less injured this week.
right now, you don't have to rely on him solely. And I think that's what's the most beautiful part of the Los Angeles Chargers. They find ways to win in multiple settings, not just, okay, Herbert, go make a play for us. It's running the football, it's making defensive plays, it's getting big time sacks and turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. It's ugly football, but to me, it's really beautiful football. The way that yes, their roster is depleted, but they still have the willingness to win against really stiff competition, which the Chiefs are still, in my opinion. So a big time win for the Chargers, and all credit goes to them first and foremost.
And that is a beautiful thing that you've never seen from a Chargers team before is not like playing good, finding ways to win, not choking leads, not like going down against competition you should beat. Like this is not the Chargers teams of old, it feels like. And a lot of that 100% of that credit goes to Harbaugh. I mean, Jesse Minter, I mean, he probably will be a head coach by next season. I think easily he'll be one of those top names in the head coaching cycle, in my opinion. And like this defense looks fantastic. They just completely shut down the Chiefs' offense, and that's why I wanted to mention that Mahomes ACL injury happened super late in the game. It wasn't like, oh, Mahomes tore his ACL in the first quarter and you're playing a backup quarterback the whole game. Like, no, this Chargers team fought and beat Mahomes for 4 quarters, and at the very end of the game, he tears his ACL. So it's just a really impressive victory from the Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert was actually able to throw the ball. It definitely seems like he's not able to go deep yet, which is interesting because I don't know how that other hand would affect it. But yeah, you're having to play this very like you're just your offense is playing on essentially a shortened field. Like you're not stretching the field. You're playing this tight like run first offense, bruising offense, and it's working. And this was a low scoring game. You forced the Chiefs to play your style of football, and they won. This defense, excuse me, I feel like it kind of took a bit of a hit in the middle part of the season, but it is coming into form again right now. Tui Pelotu looks fantastic. Khalil Mack looks insane as well. I mean, on multiple plays, you see him keeping up with Mahomes running laterally. Like, and that was one thing I was really impressed with. Is I just thought the Chargers were so disciplined and they did such a good job of not letting Mahomes get to the edge. Like Mac was always there before Mahomes could round that corner, and that's how he hurt his ACL, unfortunately. But it was just one of those things where he wasn't able to get to the corner and he had to throw the ball away and he got tackled. And yeah, this defense just looks insane. And Herbert still has a couple weeks before the playoffs to heal up, and I think that truthfully, they're going to be a danger to whoever they play in this AFC playoffs.
In the playoffs, and they can beat any division opponent because they're probably not winning the the AFC West against the Broncos. But for the Chiefs,
They
it's
don't. I don't even know if they. I guess they still can, but it's very unlikely.
but we'll get to them in a second. But for the Chiefs, it is to me. It's like it's the beginning of the end. I really think that this Chiefs team is going to look a lot different. And obviously, Mahomes goes out with a torn ACL. He's going to turn 30 years old, and you're just not going to see the Mahomes of escapability, going to your left or your right and making crazy throws on the run as you're falling down. It's like he's hit the prime age of 30. He's coming off a major injury, which he's never had in his entire career. He's probably not going to start for you week 1 next week. You're probably or next year, excuse me. You're probably losing Travis Kelsey to retirement in the offseason. Like this is something has to give, and it starts with that front office because Mahomes is going to be asked by his body to be a pocket passer, to be accurate with the football, have to first build the offensive line around him so he can do that, and number two, establish a run game so he can play action off of that, easy pocket passes down the middle. I just don't think that Mahomes can come back from this, especially being at the age of 30, which he will next year. And it was just, it was a brutal year for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they got it with the point of like, they've been tired a little bit. And I think fatigue, making 3 Super Bowls in a row, winning two of them, like, it has to play some sort of a factor. And you just get to a point where defenses start to figure out Patrick Mahomes. And that's exactly what happened this entire season. They couldn't establish a run game. And when you don't do that, you become one dimensional. So I think the Chiefs had a brutal year, and I think it will be brutal to come. And maybe, they really bounce back next year. Mahomes goes into week 4 or something like that, rehabs all the way back, and they still have a great year, a winning record. But the Broncos and Chargers just look so good right now. They have so depth. It's really tough to sit here and say the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West next year. And so, how do you combat that? I have serious question marks about the Kansas City Chiefs. And to me, after this injury, it just looks like the beginning of the end of their reign. And I think the dynasty's over.
Wow. That is crazy to think about. I kind of disagree. We'll definitely get more into this in the offseason. I think ACLs at this point though are such a common injury, and the rehab and the science around it is fairly well known, that I really don't think it will cause too much long-term issues for Mahomes. Maybe the season he comes back, but it is like such a pivotal point for the Chiefs, and that's what's more important at this point. Is it's just honestly, you're probably hoping Kelsey retires, because I think at this point he's kind of in that position where I don't know. You could compare it maybe to like the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a little different, just because Crosby and Malkin are actually still good, but you're kind of just waiting for this core to retire. And in this case, it's just Kelsey. Like you're just waiting for him to retire, because like you can't be like we're done with you, but at the same time like he is not what he used to be, and Mahomes can't rely on him the same way. And I think that that's been a huge issue in this offense is he just doesn't have outlets. It's Rashee Rice or nothing, and you saw that not work in the early in the season, and you saw them kind of get hot when he came back, but it's just not sustainable because teams now can just go, okay, we're keying in on Rashee Rice, and then nothing else works. They don't have a run game, and that's where, yeah, you're right. That offensive line is the biggest factor. They have to get that right, and they have to get that right soon. And you think you hit on Josh Simmons, you got to hope he stays healthy. But I mean, that interior offensive line has to improve, and that right tackle has to improve. And you just need to protect Mahomes better, because, like, teams knew that offensive line wasn't that good, I think, and they were able to use that to their advantage, because when the offensive line's not that good, you can guarantee Mahomes is going to have to get out of the pocket, but then you can have guys ready to deal with that, instead of like you're blitzing Mahomes, the offensive line holds up, he runs out of the pocket, there's no one there, and he makes a crazy throw. And obviously he still did that this season, but yeah, there's a lot that needs to change, especially in the trenches. I think on both sides of the ball, like Chris Jones is a guy, like how much longer do you want him around at this point? Do you get younger at the position? So it'll be interesting to see what happens this offseason. I don't know how much realistically can change, but there's definitely going to have to be some change for this Chiefs team going forwards. Next game here, Seattle. An ugly, ugly, ugly game in Philip Rivers returns, but they in return, but they get the victory over the Colts, 16-15.
I'm not doing the Seahawks personally. It's a
Oh
weird.
boy.
Really, really weird. Like they're doing a complete 180. Like the defense looked pretty good at the beginning of the season, but this offense looked electric. And now it's like the Seahawks offense looks pretty good, but they're a defensive team now. And to me, the number one thing that separates Seattle from like the Rams, which obviously is their competition, is their red zone production.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, for sure. Like Sam Darnold will get you to the red zone, but they can never run the football, and they just can't make key throws when the field shrinks on them. So they asked Jason Myers to kick 6 field goals, which he does in this game. And
Legend.
yeah, it's really tough because you see the Rams, like they have a Kyron Williams, they have a Puka Nakua, they have a Devontae Adams. Those are all three red zone beasts, and you just really don't have that with Seattle. You don't have killers who can get the job done and finish drives, and there were so many unfinished drives in this game. Jackson Smith and Jigba has a great game, caught a bunch of balls, but it was just to no avail because they get to like the 40-yard line of the opponent and they just can't get that first down that really gets them over the hump and builds that momentum into a touchdown drive. So that is my biggest takeaway from the Seattle Seahawks. Their defense is absolutely incredible. They can blitz you, they can put seven back, they can pick off the ball, get takeaways whenever they want. They made Philip Rivers look not as lost as I thought he was going to look, but still lost to the point where he lost the football game.
I mean, he only threw for like 140 yards or something.
It's it's tough when your defense is absolutely monstrous and then the offense is kicking field goals. Like that's not what's gonna beat a team like the Eagles or the Rams. So big time concerns for the Seattle Seahawks for me. I just don't think they have a quarterback killer that can really running game to combat with that. So it's tough for the Seahawks. I have some serious question marks after this game, and this was a Colts defense who was slowly on the decline, and the Seahawks just didn't take advantage of that offensively. So I have major concerns.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those games, like sometimes there is just those games in the NFL where it is a lot closer than you expected, and it's a bit of a slog, even though you know one team's a lot better than the other. And credit to the Colts, they played some really solid football, especially defensively. But yeah, the run game is insane. I don't know. Have you watched any Anthony Bradford highlights this year? Yeah, good lord, man. It is like he literally is a statue. He just doesn't know what he's doing. It's impressive. I'll send you some. But God, man, it is like that is the offensive line has not been that bad, especially in pass protection, but the run game is so terrible. No one can block. And I mean like Anthony Bradford, may I can't single-handedly blame him, but like it is impressive how little he does on a play-to-play basis. But like I mean, I guess it's kind of like the 49ers where just they can't run the ball and like McCaffrey's having this like great season statistically from like a touchdown perspective, a receiving perspective, but he's also running for like 3.5 yards a carry, and that's the exact same thing that's happening in Seattle is they just can't run the damn ball. And I think that early in the season, Sam Darnold was playing great football, and the pass game and passing, just like the receivers, whatever, everything was working. Kubiak was scheming up things fantastically through the air, but the run game just never caught up. And that was, I think I said that earlier in the season too, was the big thing they needed to kind of hit that next stride. And I still think in a lot of ways they're one of the best teams in the league, and it hinges on their defense. That defense is amazing. Nick Eamon the last 2 weeks has been an absolute demon. The numbers he's put up, the stats he's put up are ridiculous. But I like the offense is just not humming the same way it was earlier, and it's a huge concern because one, I think Sam Darnold has regressed to the mean, and if Sam Darnold has regressed to the mean, you do not have the spacing necessary to like get a run game going that way. Like they can load up the box. That'll put pressure on Sam Darnold. It'll put pressure on the run game, and it just leads to the Seahawks collapsing. And that's kind of what it feels like. You need to see that game, like that run game, get going, the passing game get going, because like you're talking about all these Rams weapons, but I would argue Seattle has those weapons in a lot of ways. Like you have JSN, you have Kenneth Walker, you have a great backup in Charbonnet, you have secondary receivers like Cooper Cup, AJ Barner, which aren't to the level of a Devontae Adams by any means, but like you have the guys. It's just it's not working in a lot of ways, and it's really concerning going down the stretch. Like you can't play like this going into the playoffs, in my opinion. I think this we'll talk about it in a bit, but this Thursday night football game against the Rams is like massive.
I compare them to the Rams because that's who they're going up against. But in fairness to the Seahawks, that's the only team that I think on paper is better than the Rams. There are teams like the Eagles and the 49ers where if you stack up the Seahawks, I think they can beat them in a playoff game.
Seahawks play the 49ers again this season.
Yeah, so I think it's there, but you know the Rams are going to be there. And then how do you stack up against them? And then you go up against teams like the Colts and you put up duds and not get touchdowns. And then you see the Rams put up 40 against the Lions. You compare those two teams, and then you have cause for concern. So I don't think it's a crazy cause for concern for the Seattle Seahawks. I still think they're a top three team in the NFL. It's just, it's really tough because you have an in division opponent who is better than you, and you have to stack up against them. For the Colts, man, I think Philip Rivers played to me slightly better than anticipated. I still think he looked bad. I hate his throwing mechanics. He looks every time he throws the ball, he just looks old. Like his shoulder just looks so funky to me. But
He's got a belly, man.
it's just sad. I mean, I would have loved to seen Riley Leonard be out there because the season is over. Like the Texans and the Jaguars are just so hot right now. Philip Rivers is not going to give you something better than Riley Leonard has. If you put in Riley Leonard, see what you have, maybe he could be your future quarterback. I would have loved to seen that, but this team is just so sad, man. Like you look at this team for the first 3 months of the year, you think they're Super Bowl juggernauts, and now all of a sudden it's just the injuries are killing Indiana. First it was Tyrese Halliburton, now it's Daniel Jones. It's really really
Same
tough.
injury.
So I don't know. The Colts are just a soft fest, and it breaks my heart watching this team now.
Or you play Anthony Richardson the rest of the season, boost his trade stock, and trade him. Genius. Exactly. No, I think Philip Rivers will continue to play the rest of the season. It's kind of fun, honestly. It's just like the most like at this point, not it feels like kind of just like you have like like just the most average dude playing quarterback for your team. But I mean, at the very least, I think he won't turn the football over like crazy. He's not gonna like make this offense like electrifying, but he will at least run it effectively enough to keep the Colts in games if their defense is solid. So I don't know. It is what it is. This Colts season's pretty much over, and I feel like at this point, all they're worried about is not giving the Jets like at the eighth overall pick. All right, next game. Two more here. The Packers. They kept this one close for a few quarters, but the Broncos pull away, and it felt like one of their most complete performances of the year.
Both of these teams for the entirety of the year. It feels like I really enjoyed watching this football game. I
It
think
was a
both
great game.
teams had a really good performance, and I thought Jordan Love was going to crumble against this defense. He looked really good against this defense. Got his team into red zone opportunities. Was throwing dimes for ends for touchdowns like that throw to Josh Jacobs. What a play by him over
That
Jordan
was an
Love.
insane catch.
Insane catch for a running back, especially a guy who doesn't pass catch out of the backfield that often. So I think that was only his second receiving touchdown in his entire career. So yeah, good for him on that play. This team just looked fluid offensively, and I thought, they are finding their stride in December, where Matt Lafleur is getting really creative with the play scheme. They're running the football when needed. Jordan Love is passing the football when needed. It was just a really good game by the Packers, but it was an even better game by the Denver Broncos. I mean, outside of that one interception by Jordan Love to Patrick Surtain in this game,
That was a
it
great play, though.
wasn't even the quarterback's fault, but there was not one blemish that the Packers made. It's just the Broncos do everything better than their opponent. And that's what I'm looking for. And you go up against teams like the Eagles and oh, that was a fluke, he came back, but this Broncos team, like to me, the Packers played slightly better than them. But at the same time, the Broncos were going pound for pound with them. It was deep shots to Cortland Sutton. It was running the football with RJ Harvey, who has had a resurgence in the second half of the season after having a slow start in the first half. It's just like this team looks really good offensively. It looks really good defensively. I mean, guys like Troy Franklin are making big time plays for this Broncos offense. And Bo Nix looked absolutely incredible in this game. So the Broncos are legit. They haven't lost at home. And I just love what I'm seeing from both of these teams, but the Broncos always find ways to win. And I'm done saying that it's by fluke because they're going up against teams like Packers who put on their best performance and they are an elite team in the NFL and the Broncos just beat them. It almost looked easy to them and it was a close game, but they just looked so calm under pressure. They looked so fluid and so consistent like they've been here before. And when you have that swagger going into the playoffs, potentially having the number one seed. I mean, who can't they beat at home? So this Broncos team's legit. I'm finally on the bandwagon of the Broncos, and let's ride. I love this team, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in the playoffs.
My prediction from our lost episode might come true. I said they'd win the AFC, and it's looking like it. I mean, yeah, this was just they put everything together in this game. You're playing a good team and you do not have a slow start. You kept up with them offensively. Your defense made plays. Your defense looked great and they get the win. I mean, I thought that defensive line is just nasty. I mean, Benito's out there making plays. Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen on the inside is someone who's rarely talked about, but he is fantastic as both a pass rusher and a run stopper. And like they held their own this entire game. The Packers, like they come out of the gates, they get a touchdown, and the Broncos just answered everything the Packers threw at them. And that's what really impressed me because we saw earlier in the season this Broncos team get off to slow starts. This offense never looked like it was clicking. And now it looks like one of the best offenses in the league at the moment. And then the defense is just as good. Like it's just so impressive. They have all the right pieces in place. And I mean, I just don't know who's going to be able to stop them. This is such a hard team to beat. And the AFC feels wide open right now. Like they have a first round bye. I feel like they could cruise to the Super Bowl at this point. And I mean, Bo Nix has just found something. He looks so much better than he did earlier in the season. Earlier in the season, he's indecisive. He didn't want to throw downfield. He's inaccurate, and now he's throwing darts. He's hitting guys in stride. He's hitting tight windows. He's throwing the ball down the field. Like everything has changed for this team. And I think that, in my opinion, part of it is like they're actually using Cortland Sutton. Like I think that he was a guy who was not used earlier in the season, and it felt like you're missing a part of that offense. And now that you're able to hit on those deep shots, everything feels more wide open for this team. And then for the Packers, I mean, it's just a crushing blow to lose Micah Parsons in this game. He's been a beast this season. He's been dominant all over that defensive line for the Packers, and it just doesn't feel like they have the same juice without him there. I've thought the inside of their or inside of their defensive line has played great throughout this entire season, but you're just missing that like number one game disruptor on that defensive side of the ball, and I just don't they don't have anyone to replace that. So it's going to be tough going forward, but I still think the Packers are in a pretty good spot to win this division and at the very least make the playoffs.
A guy like Micah Parsons, but to me, I don't think that this means it's the end of the Packers season or like
No.
lose all hope. Like this defense to me without Micah Parsons is still elite. They were elite last year, and they have the same guys. They just bring Micah Parsons in, and it's a different element, which makes them a really great defense in the entire NFL. But you still have guys like Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness coming off the edge, Edgerrin Cooper, Xavier McKinney. Like you have stars on this defensive side of the ball. It just comes down to coaching and the quarterback. Like how far is Jordan Love going to take you? That's been the narrative with or without Micah Parsons. So Micah Parsons is a huge blow, but it's not going to define the Packers season. I think what will define it is how will Jordan Love play in January? Will he step up to the occasion? And that's a question that remains to be seen. But for now, he is playing really good football, and he has a lot of momentum going into January.
Another big game for them this week against the Bears. We'll get to that in a second. But our last game here, the Rams, they go into halftime down 24-17, and they don't let the Lions score another point in this one. Or no, I guess they did eventually, but they didn't for a long time, and they boat race this team 41-34.
Just Puka Nakua is an absolute superstar. Like I don't know another wide receiver I've seen like him in my life. Like he's crazy. I
He
know
doesn't look like a wide receiver, man.
not
Like he does not have like that fluid release. He's just massive.
looks like out there. He's just bulldozing guys. 9 catches, 181 yards, or something crazy like that. It's just, wow, he's a specimen, dude. He is absolutely unbelievable, and he just got the guys into the red zone. 2 touchdowns by Kyron Williams in the first half, and then Kobe Parkinson with a crazy touchdown on a beautifully thrown ball by Matthew Stafford. And it's just this offense looks so incredible. And going into that second half, the Los Angeles Rams they really stepped up defensively as well. I thought. I think they completely took away Amon-Ra St. Brown in the second half after he exploded in the first half, and they completely shut down Jameer Gibbs in this game, which is the number one way that the Lions win is feeding Jameer Gibbs the ball. That's their best player, and they completely took him away throughout this entirety of the game. And I'm a firm believer that that's why they won this game. So the Rams know how to beat teams, and they do it in a really cool way, like an innovative way. This offense looks so consistent, and they always entrust in Puka Nakua. They go with Devontae Adams in big time moments, and then they punch it in the red zone with Kyron Williams. So it's consistent football. It's beautiful football. I think the Rams are the complete package. They're good defensively and offensively. And like you said, they shut them down in the second half, so that Rams defense really stepped up in a big time way. And I just love this team. This is the most complete team in football, and to me, the best team in football right now.
I was so hyped when Aiden Hutchinson got that pick, man. Oh my god. Yeah, he is so good. But yeah, I mean, this is a story with the Lions all season is it's just you cannot keep up with the good teams in the NFL right now. And this is just another example of that. You have like they did it in the first half, but they didn't finish it all. That second half was brutal. You score 10 points in the second half and you let the Rams score like 25. Like it's ridiculous. This defense is still so terrible and the offense just does not have the firepower it had in previous years to keep up. I mean, they have the guys. It's just not the same without Ben Johnson. The offensive line is a lot worse than in previous years and it's not working right now. And again, this is another team where I think there's going to be huge changes in the offseason because you have a lot of great talent on this team, but they're just not playing cohesive football. It doesn't feel like Dan Campbell football that we're used to seeing. Like we're gonna see some big moves, I think, especially along that offensive line for the Lions. They're gonna be aggressive because they know they're still in that window. But yeah, you just see this defense completely give up and fold in the second half. The Rams look unstoppable, and they just knew they couldn't lose this game. And I think that's exactly why they come out in the second half and look good. I think that Stafford has been a bit more careless with the football the last few weeks here, and I think that's something and really feels like the only vulnerability that this team has. But like Matthew Stafford's always been like that. Like he has games, he throws picks, but the Rams just overcome that. And I think that their run defense is strong. The only way you really have a chance to beat them is through the air, and that's not like an easy task. I'm glad this kind of shuts down the Emmanuel Forbes is a good corner rumors or like narrative, but like there's it's still not easy to beat this team through the air. They're so well coached and you have to keep up with them on offense as well. Like it's just they're such a complete football team. It's really hard to beat them.
It's like I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameer Gibbs are the only two guys that can allow them to win. And when
And
St.
at this
Brown,
point, it's really Jameer Gibbs.
yeah, St. Brown had a crazy game in the first half, and then he's taken away in the second half. Like, where did he go? No one knows. And Jameer Gibbs just, it goes through him, and he is a very streaky running back. It'll be really high highs and really low lows, and you never know what you're gonna get. So to rely on a running back like him as your primary source of offense, there has to be changes. And yeah, defensively, they've been injured for the last 2 years. It's time to bring in reinforcements. It's time to bring in some free agent guys you've tried to build through the draft. It hasn't worked up to this point. And so you just have to bring in veteran guys on the defensive side of the ball and bring in some offensive linemen. So yeah, the Lions, I mean, they're still 8-6 right now. They still have a chance to make the playoffs, and they can, try and beat any team. But they've just gone up against good teams and just fallen a little bit short. And you've seen them over the last couple of years be one of the best teams in the league. You're just not seeing that anymore. So yeah, it's time to hit the drawing board again and see how you can build upon this team. I don't think you blow it up, but I think that you have to just build upon it. And how you build upon that is going to be through free agency most of it.
Yeah. This might be one of the craziest playoff races we've ever seen because like the Lions basically have no chance of even sniffing the playoffs and they have 8 wins right now. Like it's one of the more wild playoff races we've seen, and it's on both sides of the like both conferences. I think are like this too. It's awesome. I'm loving it. But last thing on the Lions, Jameer Gibbs, I think, has gone 0 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns in his last 5 games. Like it truly speaks to this Lions team. Is does Jameer Gibbs go off, or does he do, like does he not have his best game and you lose? Like they rely so much on that, and I mean it's just the numbers don't lie. He also kind of screwed you in fantasy, Joseph. Bad week for Jameer Gibbs to be bad. All right. It is time for the Week 16 preview, Joseph. Starting off with Thursday Night Football, a very, very important game of Thursday Night Football for the playoffs, for me personally. Rams Seahawks, Joseph, part two.
Taking in Seattle, but I don't really care at this point. I
Oh,
would
man.
take
The loudest stadium in the league.
take just that they're slightly better than the Seahawks, and I think, like we saw last time these two teams met, the quarterback is clearly better for the Rams side, and I think Sam Darnold's going to fold under the pressure again. I think that defensive line's going to get after them, especially up the middle, and I think that that's where this Seahawks offensive line is kind of susceptible right now, and I think Sam Darnold's going to feel the pressure like he did in the playoffs last year when he played the Rams, and like he did the last time he played the Rams against Seattle. So he's going to get his rim rattled a little bit, and I think Matthew Stafford's going to take full advantage of that on the other side of the football. He's going to find a way to get a couple touchdowns, two or three, and then it'll ask Sam Darnold to match with those two or three touchdowns. I just don't think that this team has the running attack or the offensive line to ask that of their quarterback, and I think that the Rams will find a way to get their weapons more so utilized than the Seahawks will because of that quarterback play. So give me the Rams.
I've got Seattle. How can I pick against them? I just made the Rams sound like the most unstoppable team in the league, but, you know, if nothing else, we can look back to week, what was that, week 9, I think? And we see Seattle keeping this a close game, even though Sam Darnold throws 4 interceptions. I don't think that's going to happen. And I just think Seattle as a defense is even better, in my opinion, than they were in that matchup. They can stop the run, but their pass defense, I think, has gone to a whole other level. You have Witherspoon back healthy. Demon Worry is on an absolute warpath right now. I think he's going to cause some serious havoc. Mike McDonald is not a guy who's afraid to send secondary players as blitzers, and I think Eamon Worry just is that guy for him. He's so versatile. He's going to make some plays in this game. And I think that this offense is just going to figure it out. They're not going to be able to run the ball, but Sam Darnold's going to be throwing that rock around. You're going to see JSN be a big part of this game, in my opinion. And I think that they're just going to be able to spread the ball out in this one and get the victory here. This defense is going to shut the Rams down. Maybe we'll see a Stafford interception. He's been a bit careless with the football recently, but give me the Hawks, man. They can't lose. They got to win the NFC, man. Basically, whoever wins this game will win the NFC, I think. The 49ers are sneaky, but I think, and that's where Seattle could get tripped up. And even if they win this game, they might not win the NFC West or the NFC. But it is like, I feel like it's a pretty good indicator of whoever wins this will be the NFC champion.
They can beat anyone. They can make a Super Bowl run and get the seventh seed.
I agree.
But
They lost
yeah,
they I feel like they've lost too many games to be number 1 though.
I think they can make a sneaky push and make a conference championship at least.
I hate it. I hate that that's true, but it is. Eagles Commanders next up.
Eagles pretty comfortably. We don't really talk about this game because it's on Saturday and we miss college football and stuff
God.
like that. But yeah,
Isn't there college football?
I think on Friday there is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, give me the Eagles pretty comfortably, and yeah, it's sad. I They shut down Jane Daniels for the next 3 weeks, and it's sad what the Commanders have become. And they're always just a meh team, but last year they had some sort of spark, but it's just not there anymore. And I think Jalen Hurts can get back right in this game. He had a great game against the Raiders, which isn't saying much, but he can build on that momentum and have a great game against the Commanders. So give me the Eagles.
yeah, I've got the Eagles. God, this Saturday. I hate that they do this, man. Just yeah, money, 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 money.
All the time.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, at least if Jaden Daniels hadn't got injured, it would have been like moderately interesting. But yeah, this is Marcus Mariota, and I mean he's been fine, but I don't know what they're gonna do in this game because the Eagles are just they're gonna shut him down. I've got the Eagles by a lot. I think that like they're not going to be able to throw the ball very well in this game, in my opinion, and the run game's going to be tough sledding as well. And then the Eagles, like this Commanders defense, is just not competitive, and they're going to be able to run the football. I think in this game, Saquon could have a big week, and they're going to be able to get the ball to their top pass catchers. So I just don't like the Washington doesn't feel competitive. The Eagles, in my opinion, got very lucky with their schedule because I think they play Washington again in week 18 or 17. They just played the Raiders. Like they are getting a soft schedule when they need it the most. And this is just one of those games. All right, next up here, the Packers versus the Bears, another big divisional matchup.
See, this is the Bears' kryptonite. Is the Green Bay Packers? Everyone wants to say best rivalry in sports, but the
It's
Packers
not a
get
rivalry.
they fine, so it just sucks. But yeah, give me the Packers in this game. I think that this is a better offense in my opinion, and a much better defense, and I think that's where it's gonna combat. And yeah, I think Caleb Williams not having Micah Parsons on the other side, I think he'll have a better game than what he did a couple weeks ago against this team. But at the same time, I still think this Green Bay defense is a lot better than the Bears. I think that Jordan Love is going to kill them through the air, and that will make Caleb Williams pass the ball more and not run the ball as much. And when that happens, I think that the Bears are very susceptible. So give me the Packers, and I think they sweep the season series.
I've got the Bears in this one. But quick tangent, is any NFL rivalry better than like even I'm just saying like college football. Is there a single NFL rivalry that's better than a college like some of those top college football rivalries? No. Michigan Ohio State is huge. Like you've got Like Texas, Oklahoma's huge. Like there is so many big ones. Like Alabama, Georgia, even Georgia, Georgia Tech. I feel like is huge. Like there's just not the juice to these rivalries that there is in other sports.
A year,
Hmm.
you get 2 games against division opponents. I think that's what takes the love out of it. Because Michigan, Ohio State, that's like the one game that everyone watches. But to me, the best rivalry in the NFL is Steelers Ravens
It
still.
doesn't even come close.
And Ramsey host, but it doesn't come close to a Michigan Ohio State or like
Even like I don't know, man. Like the Battle of Alberta. I don't know. I'd put that up there. That's a good rivalry.
I think the Edmonton Oilers have just won it so consistently over the last
That's
2 years.
not true, man. That's not even true. Calgary, it's been even. They've won it when it matters, but it's a good rivalry. Back when Kachuk was there too, man. Just beating the shit out of each other is great. Yeah, I've got the Bears in this one. I think that one, Micah Parsons being out has Ben Johnson licking his chops. He's going to run the hell out of the football again. He knows what works. He knows how to get to this Packers team, and he's going to do it. He's going to run the crap out of the football. And I mean, I just think Caleb Williams, even since that game, has looked great. The Bears played fantastic last week against the Browns, and I just think that continues. I think that Caleb Williams, it feels like he's hitting his stride. It feels like he's actually making game changing plays. And I think that this is just going to be kind of that culmination of that. He's not going to underthrow his receiver in the end zone this time. And I think that you're finally going to see this Bears team overcome something that has been in their way for, you could argue, generations. Next up here, we've got Buccaneers Panthers. This basically decides the NFC South.
Playoff implications because both teams should break the playoffs, but because the NFL is structured the way it is, it does. But I'm taking the Panthers just because both these teams have been so inconsistent,
Oh man,
most inconsistent ever. But the Panthers at least show me a little more hope than the Buccaneers do. The Buccaneers just look deflated, but with the Panthers, they're young, they're up and coming, they
they've
got
got
a young head
juice.
coach, yeah, and they got a younger quarterback at the helm. So give me the Panthers in this game. I don't expect a lot of big things from this game, but I think their defense will find a way to create turnovers, and Bryce Young will find a way in the fourth quarter to make a couple big time throws, combated with Rico Dowdle putting this game on ice. So yeah, give me the Panthers.
The fact that both of these teams have lost to the Saints in the last 2 weeks is like brutal. They also play again in week 18. So lucky us with the schedule makers, you get Buccaneers Panthers again for really to really decide the division. But like, holy crap, man. I've got the Panthers as well. I feel like this, yeah, the Buccaneers just feel like they're out of like track, man. They're off the track. They're derailed. Todd Bowles just doesn't feel like that guy, in my opinion. It was fine when the vibes were good, the culture was good, but he just like from what we've seen, it just doesn't look like he can really pick this team up from the bottom. And like I think his done. Like his job's done. I don't know if even if they make the playoffs if that will change because like they just look terrible right now. And at the very least, this Panthers team, one, matches up well because they're going to be able to make plays. Like Ted McMillan has been great so far. I think Bryce Young's going to have time in the pocket. He's going to be able to get it to his receivers. The defense for the Bucks is pretty good, but at the same time, I trust Canales and I trust Bryce Young to make some throws through the air here. So give me the Panthers. This Bucks team, I mean, like, and honestly, this Panthers defense has been playing better. Derek Brown has been an absolute monster this year, and I think that he will get some pressure on Mayfield up the middle and might lead to some mistakes, and we'll see what happens. But the Panthers just feel like the slightly better team at this point. Which division do you think is worse right now? The NFC South or the AFC North?
I think the NFC South is significantly worse. At least with the other teams, you're seeing like momentum build with the Ravens and the Steelers. There's just like no hope with these other teams. And it's been bad for so long. At least with the AFC North, it's been one of the best divisions in football over the last couple of years.
Except for the Browns.
Except for the Browns, yes. But the South has just been awful for what, the last 5 years now? It's been
At least, man. Holy. Yeah, ever since Drew Brees retired. But even before Drew Brees retired, then everyone else sucked. And then it was like Drew Brees retired, the Bucks were good, everyone else sucked, and now everyone just sucks. So it's a bit it's yeah, it's unfortunate. I agree with you. Let's move on though. Jaguars Broncos. Jags on a bit of a heater here. Trevor Lawrence coming off a 6 touchdown performance against the Jets. So I don't know how much you need to take away from that. Fun fact for the Jets, I don't think they've gotten an interception this year. So that just tells you how bad this defense is. So take what you will out of that Trevor Lawrence performance, but they go up against the Broncos, who are riding high off that Packers victory.
I can't stand the
I know
Jaguars.
this team annoys me, man.
Just keep winning, and I think this is both teams are on really hot streaks, but I think the Broncos have shown me a little bit more promise than what the Jacksonville Jaguars have. They've been more consistent in winning these football games, and they are winning in proper fashion. I don't think the Jaguars are doing that, and I think they have the better defense and the better offense. So give me the Broncos pretty easily.
I've got the Broncos too, and I don't like the Jaguars either, but I also really hate the timing of this matchup as someone with Travis Etienne on their fantasy team. Um, yeah, the Broncos are just going to eat the Jaguars alive, in my opinion. I think that Trevor Lawrence is just not going to look like he has the last couple weeks here because this Broncos defense is good, and we're going to see some of those accuracy issues and poor decision making issues really come to light here for Trevor Lawrence. I think that the run game is going to be stifled as well. Oh man, excuse me. And I just don't know if this Jags team is good enough to recover. And on the other side of the ball, like the Broncos just don't make those mistakes. And this defense is one that capitalizes heavily off of turnovers. And I just don't think the Broncos are going to give that to them. Cortland Sutton, I think, can torch this defense. I think that you'll see some of these other receivers get hugely involved as well. But it just doesn't feel like the way Bo Nix especially is playing, like it doesn't feel like this Jaguars team can put up a fight the way that maybe the Packers did last week for this Broncos team. I think it's going to be a pretty honestly a pretty wide margin of victory for this Broncos team. Next up, three more games. Steelers Lions.
Defensively the last couple weeks, and this is the perfect team to do it against in the Detroit Lions because their defense also sucks. No one can match up against DK Metcalf. And I think that Metcalf is going to go for yet again another crazy game in this game. I
He
think
does play good against the Lions too historically.
he's hitting his stride with Rodgers, and they have that connection back. And I don't think anyone can match up against Metcalf. So they'll run the ball consistently, they'll pass the ball consistently. On the other side of the football, I think the Steelers have done a much better job of shutting down the run. They go up against a guy like Devon Achane last week and shut him down. And I think that Jameer Gibbs is also going to get shut down in this game by Cam Hayward, and the boys. So yeah, give me the Steelers in this game. They can match up really well offensively with this Detroit Lions team, and I think that their defense is a lot better than what the Lions present. So the Steelers ride the momentum, and I think they win on the road.
Yeah, that was a tough look for my Mike McDaniel take last week. They kind of rolled over and died, but I've got the Lions. I just think that the Lions beat the soft middle of the NFL, right? And this is exactly what the Steelers are. I think the Lions are a bit desperate. I mean, both of these teams are kind of desperate because this is make or break for the playoffs. But I feel like the Steelers just don't have that same level of desperation just because number one, I think they still play the Ravens once. They're a game ahead of the Ravens versus the Lions. Every single week is do or die for this team. I think that again, we're gonna see Jameer Gibbs rebound. He'll probably have 3 touchdowns again this week, and he'll just be the engine for this offense that desperately needs it. They'll be able to get some plays to Amon-Ra St. Brown through the air, and then I mean, I can't say they'll stop the Steelers offense, but at the same time, while it has looked better, I just don't know if I trust the consistency of the Steelers offense to be good week in, week out because it feels like there's a lot of mistakes that happen in this Steelers offense, and you get one of those, and the game kind of could switch to tides to favor the Lions here. So give me the Lions, but I don't know, man. I do not care about this game at all. Holy. Also, one more thing on the Steelers. What did you think of that Jonnu Smith end around for the touchdown?
Two or different tight ends on the same team had a rushing touchdown in a game.
Yeah, Connor Hayward earlier. Good.
Yes.
Arthur Smith is insane. Do you think like I feel like Johnny Smith must have like blackmail on him or something. Or they're in some sort of like secret like love affair, and he's like, "Don't worry, baby, I'll get you the ball." All right. Two more games here. Patriots Ravens.
Supposed to be Miami, Cincinnati, and thank God.
What do you mean, man? That would have been the battle of two eliminated teams. Who wouldn't want to watch that?
They played a complete game against the Bills, and I think the Bills are better than the Ravens right now. They have better quarterback play than the Ravens, and I just don't think Lamar is playing up to a standard right now. And they're not giving the ball to Derrick Henry enough. He had like 11 carries for 100 yards. He damn near averaged 10 yards a carry and just did not get the football against the Bengals, especially when they shut him out and they were icing the game. It was the weirdest thing ever, and I just don't think that yeah the Ravens can do anything offensively. I think the Patriots have all the offensive firepower, and the Ravens defense just to me has not looked good over the last couple weeks, especially last week against the Steelers. So give me the Patriots. I think Drake May has a huge win, and I just don't think Lamar Jackson can keep up with him in this game.
I've got the Patriots too. I mean, credit to the Ravens. That was a solid win last week after a couple rough games, but yeah, I don't see it, man. I don't see how this Ravens team keeps up with the Patriots. One, Patriots are going to be pissed off after their loss. They're going to be fighting for that AFC East title. The Ravens, on the other hand, just feel like, again, just soft. The defense doesn't feel like they put up a fight for the most part. And yeah, the Patriots just all around feel better. Drake May is going to torch this defense. And I mean, they're going to be able to get some stops. It just feels like the Ravens offense is inconsistent, doesn't have juice. They're not getting big plays. And yeah, I mean, maybe they're trying to save Derrick Henry for the playoffs, but there's not a lot more time for that. So they kind of got the break in case of emergency on Derrick Henry has to come out. And that's going to be the way they win this game is if they can run the ball, keep it on the ground, burn that clock, and get some big yardage from Derrick Henry. But I just don't see that happening. I will say I am kind of sad that we won't get to see Joe Burrow and his. I don't know. He seems like depressed at the moment. Well, I want to get some more Joe Burrow quotes.
Zach Taylor's got to go. I think after these 20
Never. It never will happen, man. Cincinnati, didn't they have what? Oh my God, what was the name of their coach before Zach Taylor? I don't even remember. Huey? No, fuck, not Huey Lewis. Yes, Mark Martin. I don't remember. Anyways, no, no. See, but he was there. Whatever his name was, he was there for like 14 years or something. Like Zach Taylor has long overstayed his welcome, but Cincinnati's cheap, man. We'll have to see how much is left on the contract. That'll really be the Marvin Lewis. That's his name. Anyways, we'll move on. It would be fun though. It's a quote off. Mike McDaniel always gives weird ass quotes too. So him and Joe Burrow up there. I still guess we'll get it. It just won't be in prime time. Okay, last game. 49ers Colts.
like Tennessee, and that's nothing to
Tennessee looked good in that game though.
or just hitting their stride in the second half to me. But yeah, I don't know. The 49ers just look so good, and the Colts are just a soft fest right now, and it's really sad to see. They're completely deflated. I think the 49ers take advantage of that, and this is a hot team. Like Brock Purdy looks really good. McCaffrey's the best running back in football right now. He is a red zone machine, and George Kittle's back in full form. So the 49ers are a team that is very scary. They know how to win with Kyle Shanahan, and I think that they carry that momentum into Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I've got the 49ers as well. They've been kind of flying under the radar just because of how good the rest of that division is, but they're just as good and it feels like they're really hitting their stride offensively. Kittle's been producing. Um the receiver situation still seems up in the air, but they're making it work and their defense is still playing fantastic football, all things considered, without Bosa and Warner. So they're feisty. They're a team who needs to kind of keep up with everyone else here. So I think they get the win here. And yeah, this Colts team just doesn't look good. They had a nice little rebound, last week against Seattle. They fought hard, but it just doesn't feel sustainable. This offense feels like now it is very one dimensional. Shut down Jonathan Taylor and you're fine. And then this Colts defense I don't think is very good and they haven't been good for most of the season. So just doesn't feel like a good matchup for the Colts here, and the 49ers will get the victory. And before we go into Hardball's Lock of the Week, Joseph, are you ready to admit you were wrong about Cam Ward and Shador? 3 interceptions on Sunday, Joseph. That's all I'm saying. True. I mean, Cam Ward, they're both in terrible offenses, but it feels like Cam Ward has more juice. We'll see, though. I'm excited. Hopefully, they play again next year. Maybe we'll go. We'll fly to Cleveland. Okay, Hardball's Lock of the Week, Joseph. What you got? Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, this is bad. This is absolutely brutal, man. Technically, you could still have a winning record because of the playoffs, but nah, pick the games you want to, man. Who cares? I love it. Pick some big winners. Big upsets here. I love it. I mean, you had a great snipe last week with the Vikings over the Cowboys, so a big win for the ball watchers who have just steadily been falling. We're not good at this for some reason, and it's crazy, but it is what it is. I'm choosing the Patriots over the Ravens here. Maybe not the most glamorous, but when I checked, I'm gonna check again just to double check. But yeah, the Ravens are favored by 3 points here, which is insane. So give me the Patriots here. I don't care that the Ravens are desperate and looking for the division title here. It just, they don't have it this season. And I mean, it doesn't feel like anyone in that division has it, but they're competing for the playoffs here still. And it just doesn't feel like they are a playoff team at all. And they're a team who, I mean, they have had an easier schedule, but like they beat the Bucks, they beat the Bills, they almost beat the Bills last week. And I just feel like this Ravens team feels like a team that they can definitely beat here because the Ravens, like we said, not anything impressive right now. I feel like the Patriots are going to be able to disrupt the flow. And then defensively, again, a team who really hasn't been that good this season outside of a few games. And it just feels like a game where the Patriots really can just shine on both sides of the football. So give me the Patriots there. And let's move on. Another fun segment, Joseph. I actually love this one. This was a great idea by you. But our Christmas wish list, Joseph, what do you want for Christmas? That was bad too because the other guy didn't even start like put together a full lineup, man. Like God. Please, Santa. I love it. I think yeah, this Texans team looks great. And I mean, that game against the Cardinals shows everything. Stroud, that offense was just in their bag, and Stroud looks like he did 2 years ago right now. So They're on a heater. Their defense is all world, and the offense finally feels like it's contributing. So, love it. For me, my number one is I want the Seattle Seahawks to win the NFC. They're close, man. They need to win probably, well, they need to win on Thursday, and then they definitely probably need to beat the 49ers. I'm going to double check what their other game is right now, but they have a chance, man. And this is just, it's so exciting because we've seen some serious heartbreak from the pit. Oh, they play the Panthers. So I feel like hopefully that's a win. But I just, it's one of those, we've seen so much heartbreak, even from these good Seattle teams the last few years. I mean, you had them losing the division title to the 49ers a couple of years ago by like literally a foot on touchdown that came down, or what would have been a touchdown, but he went down like a foot before the end zone. I mean, you haven't really seen the Seahawks be competitive in the playoffs. You've seen them get absolutely bounced by the Rams a couple times. Their only significant victory in the last few years was over the Eagles, and that was I want to say Nick Foles was, or no, Carson Wentz was the quarterback, but that was like bad Carson Wentz. So like not that impressive. That was Jadavion Clowney was on that Seattle team. Like I don't know, man. DK Metcalf's rookie season. That's like the only memorable playoff moment from the Seahawks of recent memory. So just winning the NFC, give us that bye, get us straight into the divisional round, man. That would be a great Christmas present for me. They got bounced. And guess who the quarterback was? So please get us to the second round. Please. All right, Joseph, what's the second thing you want for Christmas? Food. It hurts me to hear that, Joseph. I don't want Santa to do that. That's not on my Christmas wish list. But how about this? If the Bears win a playoff game, will you paint Caleb on your fingernails for an episode of the podcast? Okay. All right. That's in. We've locked that in. It works. It works perfectly. And maybe you can put like little hearts on the other hand or something. Who knows? Or we can try to like draw his face. We'll figure it out. My the second thing on my Christmas wish list is Miles Garrett to break the NFL sack record. I mean, this is just he's so damn close, man. He literally needs one sack this week to tie. There's 3 games left. So as long as he gets a sack and a half over the next 3 weeks, which is basically like sleepwalking for Miles Garrett, he breaks this. And I know it's hard for Joseph as a Steelers fan to see that with TJ Watt tying the record, but this goes back farther than that, man. Like get Michael Strahan out of there. His fake sack against Brett Favre, like known friends. There's a lot of conspiracy around that. So I think Miles Garrett breaking that sack record is just insane. And I think that two things, honestly. One, if he can do it in the next 2 games, he'll have done it in 17 games, which I think is really is just that just shows the dominance because you're not adjusting it for the extra game like he did it. And he's basically on track to do that, which is super impressive. And two, I just think that Miles Garrett in some ways is underappreciated in my opinion, and he is the best defensive player in football in my opinion. And this would just be awesome to see. I'd be really happy for the Browns, and they just need a win, man. The Browns, excuse me, need some sort of win, and this is really the only thing that this team can look forward to at the moment for Steelers fans. Also, Miles Garrett, man, he's just sick. He's so huge. Like he is an absolute bulldozer. He is jacked to the gills, man. Like I don't know. I love Miles Garrett and I'm very excited for this to happen. All right, Joseph, final thing on your wish list. When did this happen? When was the last time they won a playoff game? Oh, yes. Oh, wait. I thought that was the year you played the Jaguars. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Blake Bortles was still in the NFL, man. Gotta hope for a good matchup. I mean, if the Patriots end up as like the 2 seed and then you're the 7th seed, that's oh no, you no. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I guess you hope for the Jaguars again. Rematch of 2017. Speaking of the Jaguars, gotta hope for that. I think that's really your best bet there. You remember, man, there's so many good names on that team. Paul Puzzlesny. Oh my God. Yeah. God, not a key to leave. Oh my God. There's another corner. I'm running out of names. So true. But Allen Robinson, I think, was injured that year. I don't even think he played. You had Leonard Fournette. You had like, yeah. Oh, what a team. What a team. I'm like blanking on names. This is terrible. There is a lot of other guys. Another linebacker, number 50. Forget his name. Anyways, the last thing on my Christmas wish list is the Falcons to win out, man. I do not want the Rams to have the 5th overall pick in this year's draft. Just anything but that, please. Anything but that. Falcons. Yeah. No, he's what? Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, it's terrible trade. What are you doing, Falcons? Literally, who has traded to the 25th pick and given up a future first? I've literally never seen that. Like, it's idiotic. Anyways, like, please, like, the Rams do not need a top 5 overall player. Like, they don't need. Honestly, if they use it to draft a quarterback, I'll be jumping for joy because at least it like delays the inevitable. You're not getting like an immediate blue chip. He's going to be behind Stafford, but like offensive lineman, I think maybe a corner. Like, ah, God, dude, it frightens me. It makes me sad. So like Falcons, just win out. You don't have anything to play for, but like let's go, Kirk O'Chains. Like let's go, win out, please. Just don't give the Rams the like 3rd overall pick. You freaks. I know, but at least like if it's outside the top 10, it's like annoying. But if it's inside the top 10, it's just like enraging, you know? Just win out for me, Falcons. Please, Santa. Please. All right, that does it for this episode of the Ball Watchers podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you follow us over on Instagram at Ball Watchers Pod, TikTok at Ball Watchers Pod. We're streaming everything live on YouTube now, so go follow us, subscribe over there, watch the lives at at Ball Watchers on YouTube, and make sure you go wish Joseph a happy birthday in the comments. Happy 23rd birthday, my friend, my co-host. But yeah, we will be back next week sometime. Who knows? Christmas is a weird week, so we'll figure that out. But sometime next week, hopefully, with another episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back next week. Stay up, ball watchers.